Hey guys, it's your average gamer here, and I'm back with some more news. So the bombs keep dropping, and Arcade1up basically revealed their whole list of their 3 tables for pinball. IGN picked up the story, and they do have all the game listings on here for again pinball, for the Marvels, Star Wars, and the Attack from Mars. So let's get into this, see a little bit of gameplay. Tell me what you think about it. So guys, let's look at this list here. We have the Marvels table here. It comes with 10 games. You have your Crown Gem, Spider-Man, and the Civil War. You have Wolverine, X-Men, Thor. Another big seller on this table is probably going to be the Marvels Women of Power A-Force. And then you have your obscure titles, Ghost Rider, maybe Venom, Fantastic Four, and Fear itself. I think they're missing some of those titles there. That would have probably brought a little bit more oomph to it, like the Avengers, the Gauntlet. Those titles kind of ring true to the Marvel universe there. But you have to think that Disney and Marvel had a big to do on the selections of games that were added to this title and the artwork. This for Marvel is basically a commercial, free advertisement for them for some of the films that are going to be dropping in the quite soon in the near future, or some of the things that they're focusing on. So that's why I think some titles were excluded. Thor's Thing of the Past, Hulk. Remember, they're tied. Hulk is tied up in Universal, so that's probably another person they would have to add another company into the mix to try to get the permissions to use that character on this unit here. So that's why I think he was omitted, and probably why they didn't focus on the Avengers. Now let's go ahead and see some gameplay of the best the best for me in any ways, the Spider-Man game. Now this is running on the PlayStation, but it's gonna be the same gameplay on most platforms. So you should gonna expect some similar functionality throughout everywhere that you're playing this on. You got to remember that these games are very much computer animated and driven, and not based on any true table. Now these are mostly based on the comics, not on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So you'll see a lot of reference to the comics on these tables and things that are within the room, the storylines behind the tables. So you're gonna notice those are based on the comic itself. And sometimes you'll see some Easter eggs and things of that nature that reference the movies, but it really is based on the comics. But it's gonna look beautiful. You know you're gonna get some good value there. Let's go to the second table. That's probably gonna get a lot of play, and that is the Civil War. Cool things about these tables, they usually have some story that's going to be based on the gameplay of the table. And again, like I said, this is straight out of the comics and not out of the film. Excuse me. But it's pretty cool to see this, especially if you're a comic fan and it's basically popping right out of the pages of the comics, and that's pretty cool. Right? So you'll get all the bells and whistles, the sounds, and whatnot. But again, if you are a true pinball fan, you know, this is not what you're used to. This is very much an imagination of pinball. And let's get to another table that I think is going to be pretty big for them. And this one is the Marvel's Women of Power A-Force. And again, like I said, this is advertisement for Marvel. You can see at the end of Endgame, they kind of hinted towards releasing a Marvel's Women of Power A-Force team. Again, different characters, but based on some of those characters, you have your Captain Marvel, you have those characters there, and then Jane Foster is Lady Thor. She's going to be joining the Marvel Universe very soon as well. So this is a way to advertise your films and your characters in different ways. And this is from the Pinball FX2 days. So you can expect this kind of gameplay on your Arcade1up cabinet if you do go down the road of getting the Marvels one. And it's very similar to the gameplay that you'll get on the Star Wars one as well. So let's go ahead and take a deeper look at the listing here. And these are the games lists for the Star Wars cabinet. You have your Boba Fett, New Hope, Darth Vader, and Han Solo. So you see these are very deep, more on the on the original trilogy. I do think that they missed on a couple of ones there. I'm glad that they focused more on the original trilogy, but I would have liked to see at least Clone Wars. That's a cool table. They missed out on that one, I think, but the best table out of this one, I'm gonna say, is the Darth Vader one. I've had a lot of fun with that particular one. And then you have your listing here for the Attack from Mars. Now, the Attack from Mars and these tables here are based on real tables. So if you're a true fan of pinball and not the virtual pinball, this is probably the table that you're going to gravitate towards. If you have those, that nostalgia factor for playing the real games, these are based on those real games. And the Fish Tales, that game that you first get when you join the Steam the Zen Studios Pinball FX3. That's one of the first games that they provide you for free. So you're getting that on this table here, and it's quite a fun game. But these have the real physics of pinball. So there goes your list here. What do you guys think? If you had to bet $100 on which table is going to sell the most, which one would you decide with? I'm betting, if I had to bet, it'd be the Star Wars table. I think that's gonna sell the most units. But the unit that I'm gonna probably be joining on is the Marvel's pinball for my man Spider-Man. But why don't you comment in the section below? Tell me first off which ones you think is going to be the number one seller, and which table would you get? And tell me what tables do you feel that they missed out on and they should have included. Myself, I'm kind of upset that you're running these FX3 tables, and if you have yourself a Steam account, you can buy as many tables as your heart desire. You know that this PCB board has the capabilities of running these games. Why don't you give us the ability to purchase more games? Now, I understand that Arcade1up is not a software company. They're just concerned about moving units. But I think Zen is missing out on another revenue base. They have the consoles and they have the computers with Steam. They could have easily segued to this market here with these pinball tables and have the ability to download the software. It would have been a feather in their cap and another selling point. Because how many times can you see Spider-Man or Darth Vader or Fishtails on a cabinet? You would get tired of that, but you won't get tired if you have the ability to download more games. So I think they missed the boat on that. Hopefully, like John D had mentioned, that if this does well, the second wave of tables, they'll have a marketplace where you can download those games and possibly bring that feature over to the first generation. And I really hope that they do that, because that would be a great benefit to them and us as the consumer. But with that being said, please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.